In a recent interview on Fox News, Secretary of State Marco Rubio addressed growing concerns regarding the Trump administration's engagement with the Venezuelan government, specifically under Nicolás Maduro's controversial rule. The conversation, which took place on the Brian Kilmeade show, comes in the wake of U.S. envoy Ric Grenell's trip to Caracas, which has raised eyebrows about the administration's stance toward the Maduro regime. Rubio was quick to dismiss fears that the U.S. was legitimizing Maduro's leadership through diplomatic overtures. Venezuela has an obligation under international law to accept foreign nationals who are unlawfully and illegally in another country, he stated, referencing the return of 6 Americans from Venezuela amidst a broader agreement that also included the deportation of Venezuelans, including gang members, back to their home country. This assertion reflects a complicated and often contentious relationship between the U.S. and Venezuela, with Rubio emphatically stating Donald Trump's not going to be blackmailed by them. The backdrop to these discussions is significant. The U.S. does not recognize Maduro as Venezuela's legitimate leader following a deeply disputed election in 2024, which saw him claim a third term amid allegations of fraud. Rubio underscored this viewpoint, calling Maduro a horrible dictator and emphasizing the threats he poses not only to his own people but also to neighboring countries. He pointed to the regime's links with Iran and China and its role in facilitating the movement of gang members into the U.S., asserting that Maduro continues to be a significant threat. In a related development, President Donald Trump announced on his social media platform the revocation of Chevron's oil license in Venezuela, a move seen as further tightening the screws on Maduro's government. "We're reversing the concessions that crooked Joe Biden gave to Nicolás Maduro," Trump wrote, criticizing the regime's failure to transport criminals back to Venezuela as agreed. The implications of these statements and actions are profound. They signal a hardening of U.S. policy towards Venezuela, emphasizing a commitment to exert pressure on Maduro's regime while navigating the complex realities on the ground. Rubio's comments align with a broader strategy by the administration to portray a strong front against perceived threats, particularly against the backdrop of ongoing geopolitical tensions. As the situation in Venezuela continues to evolve, it remains to be seen how the U.S. will balance its diplomatic strategies with its humanitarian obligations, especially regarding the return of Venezuelan nationals who have sought refuge abroad. The dialogue surrounding U.S. foreign policy reflects not only the challenges of addressing authoritarian regimes but also the intricate dynamics of international law and human rights. Looking ahead, the administration's approach to Venezuela will likely be under scrutiny, particularly as it seeks to articulate a coherent strategy that addresses both security concerns and the humanitarian crises exacerbated by authoritarian governance. The coming months will be critical in determining whether the U.S. can maintain a principled stance while effectively engaging with the complexities of Latin American politics. In a significant visit to Naval Station Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth engaged with troops assigned to Joint Task Force Southern Guard on February 25, 2025. Emphasizing the importance of their mission amidst ongoing operations led by the Department of Homeland Security (DHS). This visit marked Hegseth's first to the station since his confirmation in January, and he took the opportunity to assess the scope of the operations and express gratitude to the service members for their dedication. Guantanamo Bay represents justice, Hegseth told the assembled troops. It represents deterrence, and because of you, it represents professionalism. His comments came as he evaluated the Joint Task Force's efforts in managing illegal alien holding operations, underscoring a new directive from President Trump to enhance border security efforts. Hegseth stated, "We've spent 20 years defending other people's borders. It's time to lock down ours on behalf of the American people." During his visit, Hegseth was briefed by senior military officials including Admiral Alvin Halsey, commander of U.S. Southern Command, and Major General Phil Ryan, the commander of Joint Task Force Southern Guard. He observed firsthand the operations where U.S. military personnel were working in tandem with interagency partners to process individuals arriving at the facility. These warriors are directly supporting the apprehension and processing of individuals encountered at the border, he noted, highlighting the critical role that the troops play in the broader national security landscape. Hegseth's visit was not merely ceremonial, it involved detailed briefings on the operational capacity of the Migrant Operations Center, security protocols and contingency plans for potential expansion. Angel Cata, a supervisory detention and deportation officer with ICE, emphasized the commitment to ensuring that all processes are conducted efficiently and humanely, stating, "This mission requires precision, coordination and commitment." The collaborative nature of the mission was praised by Major General Ryan, who remarked on the remarkable achievements of the task force in a short period, showcasing a strong example of interagency cooperation. In addition to the briefings and operational tours, Hegseth took the time to engage with the troops personally, even sharing a meal with them. "It's great to put faces to those numbers and names," he remarked, acknowledging the diverse roles played by service members in supporting the mission. His interaction reinforced the importance of morale and recognition in military operations, particularly in challenging environments like Guantanamo Bay. As Hegseth concluded his visit, he presented commemorative coins to several troops, acknowledging their hard work and dedication. Command Sergeant Major Eric Olson noted the significant progress made by the troops in just 3 weeks, citing their instrumental role in expanding the camp's capacity while adhering to humane treatment standards. The visit comes at a time when the Biden administration is under scrutiny for its handling of the withdrawal from Afghanistan, leading to discussions about accountability within the military leadership. President Trump, during a recent cabinet meeting, called for Hegseth to consider dismissing generals involved in the withdrawal, arguing for a thorough review of their actions. Hegseth has indicated that the Department of Defense is committed to a comprehensive review of the events surrounding the withdrawal, signifying a shift in accountability measures since the previous administration. As the situation at Guantanamo Bay evolves, the commitment shown by Hegseth and the troops may signal a renewed focus on U.S. border security and military readiness. With ongoing challenges at the border and questions surrounding the effectiveness of past military operations, the developments at Guantanamo Bay will likely continue to attract attention as the Defense Department navigates its priorities in the months to come. In a troubling resurgence of measles in the United States, Texas has reported its first measles-related death in a decade, raising alarms about the consequences of declining vaccination rates. Health officials confirmed that a school-aged child who was unvaccinated succumbed to the disease amid a fast-spreading outbreak that has infected at least 124 individuals across 9 counties, primarily in rural West Texas. The death has prompted renewed scrutiny of vaccine hesitancy and public health safety measures in the U.S. The child's death was verified by Catherine Wells, the director of public health for Lubbock, Texas, who indicated the gravity of the situation by stating, "This is a big deal." This incident marks the first measles-related fatality in the U.S. since 2015. A reflection of the ongoing challenges faced by health officials in combating misinformation surrounding vaccines. Dr. Amy Thompson, CEO of Covenant Health, where the child received treatment, highlighted the severity of the outbreak, noting that many patients have required serious medical intervention due to respiratory complications associated with measles. In a cabinet meeting at the White House, Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. appeared to downplay the outbreak, suggesting that measles incidents are not unusual in the U.S. "We have measles outbreaks every year," he stated, referencing multiple outbreaks occurring in the country. However, his comments were met with skepticism as he inaccurately reported 2 deaths associated with the outbreak. Local health officials and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention clarified that only 1 death had occurred. Kennedy's remarks sparked criticism, particularly from medical professionals who argue that such statements contribute to public misinformation. Dr. Laura Johnson, Chief Medical Officer at Covenant Children's Hospital, refuted Kennedy's claim regarding hospitalizations for quarantine, stating, "We don't hospitalize patients for quarantine purposes." This miscommunication reflects a broader concern among healthcare professionals about the messaging surrounding vaccination and disease prevention. The current outbreak has predominantly affected a close-knit under-vaccinated Mennonite community in Gaines County, where the vaccine exemption rate is alarmingly high at nearly 18%, significantly above the national average of 3% for kindergartners in 2023. This trend highlights the growing pockets of vaccine hesitancy that have emerged in the wake of misinformation campaigns, particularly those perpetuated by anti-vaccine advocates like Kennedy. The measles virus is highly contagious, capable of surviving in the air for up to 2 hours, making it critical for unvaccinated individuals to receive immunizations to protect themselves and their communities. The introduction of the measles, mumps, and rubella MMR vaccine in the late 20th century led to the disease being declared eliminated in the U.S. in 2000. However, recent years have seen a resurgence in cases correlating with declining vaccination rates, largely influenced by misinformation campaigns and parental hesitance. Health officials are now working diligently to mitigate the outbreak's effects, distributing vaccines and providing technical support in the affected areas. Texas Governor Greg Abbott emphasized the tragedy of the child's death and assured that state resources would be deployed to ensure community health and safety. As this outbreak unfolds, it serves as a stark reminder of the importance of vaccination in protecting public health. With rising cases and vaccine hesitancy becoming more pronounced, the need for clear, accurate information regarding the safety and efficacy of vaccines is more critical than ever. The situation in Texas not only reflects local health challenges but also underscores a national dialogue on the importance of immunization in preventing the resurgence of preventable diseases. As health officials continue to monitor the outbreak, the hope is that increased awareness and education can reverse the trend of vaccine hesitancy and safeguard communities against further outbreaks in the future. In a highly anticipated announcement, Attorney General Pam Bondi revealed that a cache of documents related to the notorious convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein would be released on Thursday. The files, which Bondi described as pretty sick, are expected to contain unsettling details about Epstein's extensive network of alleged victims and associates, further fueling the public's desire for transparency in this long controversial case. During an appearance on Fox News, Bondi disclosed that more than 250 alleged victims have been documented in the files, underscoring the scale of Epstein's predatory actions. "So we have to make sure that their identity is protected and their personal information," she stated, emphasizing the careful handling of sensitive information as the release approaches. Bondi assured viewers, "I think tomorrow you're going to see some Epstein information being released by my office." The impending release comes amid intensifying pressure from lawmakers across the political spectrum, many of whom are demanding the disclosure of Epstein's so-called client list. This push has been fueled by Bondi's previous comments regarding the contents of the files, including flight logs and a wealth of names associated with Epstein's illicit activities. The Attorney General noted that the information would be partially redacted to protect the identities of victims, but she hinted at the potential inclusion of high-profile figures. The renewed focus on Epstein's connections follows years of speculation and conspiracy theories since his death in a Manhattan prison in August 2019, where he was awaiting trial on charges of trafficking teenage girls. Bondi's announcement also reflects the broader context of calls for transparency regarding government documents, with congressional Republicans urging the Department of Justice (DOJ) to declassify files related to various high-profile cases, including those surrounding the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. Among those advocating for the release of Epstein-related documents is Florida Representative Anna Paulina Luna, who has been vocally critical of government secrecy. Luna leads a newly formed task force aimed at dismantling governmental opacity, and has publicly called for Bondi to expedite the release of the Epstein files. "Today would be a great day for it, AG Pam Bondi, to release the Epstein files," Luna tweeted, echoing sentiments shared by many of her colleagues. Bondi's role in the release of these documents is particularly significant as she navigates the implications of her position within the DOJ, a department she pledged to run free from political influence during her confirmation hearing. Critics, however, remain skeptical, particularly given her history of support for former President Donald Trump, who previously expressed interest in the Epstein case during his campaign. As the release date approaches, the nation braces for the unveiling of potentially explosive information. The released documents could offer insights not only into Epstein's criminal activities but also into the myriad powerful individuals who may have been entangled in his web of exploitation. Speculation around the identities of these individuals looms large, with many wondering if the latest documents will finally shed light on the long-hidden connections that have fueled public outrage and conspiracy theories alike. With the imminent release of these files, the conversation around accountability, transparency, and justice in cases of sexual exploitation is poised to reach a new crescendo. As the public awaits the unveiling of the Epstein files, the broader implications for law enforcement and societal attitudes towards such crimes remain at the forefront of national discourse, hinting at the potential for significant developments in the months to come. In recent developments that have sparked considerable discussion within the political and economic spheres, U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has found himself navigating a tumultuous landscape marked by both domestic economic challenges and international diplomatic engagements. As the Trump administration grapples with the specter of an impending economic downturn, Bessent's initial address has drawn scrutiny, particularly his assertion that the administration's challenges are rooted in the legacy of former President Joe Biden. Bessent's remarks came during a significant speech at the Australian Embassy in Washington, where he sought to frame the current economic climate as a private sector recession, a term that has raised eyebrows among economists and commentators alike. The previous administration's over-reliance on excessive government spending and overbearing regulation left us with an economy that may have exhibited some reasonable metrics but ultimately was brittle underneath, Bessent stated, implying that Biden's policies had set the stage for current difficulties. This rhetoric, however, appears to gloss over various economic indicators that have shown improvement under Biden's stewardship, including a drop in inflation from 9.1% in 2022 to 3% in January 2025 and a significant decline in unemployment. Critics have pointed out that Bessent's claims seem to ignore the broader context of economic recovery and growth during Biden's term, where GDP growth rebounded from a negative 3.5% in Trump's last year to a positive 2.8% by the end of Biden's administration. Moreover, the bond market's reaction to the administration's policies has not been particularly favorable, with declining confidence leading to increased scrutiny of Trump's proposed tariffs and budget deficits that threaten to undermine economic stability. The situation is further complicated by Bessent's upcoming meeting with Israeli Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich, scheduled for early March. This engagement signifies a notable shift in U.S. foreign policy, particularly regarding Israel's settlement activities in Palestinian territories, which have been a point of contention in international relations. With Smotrich's hardline stance advocating for the expansion of Jewish settlements and the reoccupation of Gaza, the implications of this meeting could resonate deeply within the geopolitical landscape. As Bessent prepares for this high-stakes dialogue, observers are keenly aware of the potential ramifications. Smotrich's invitation to Washington reflects a broader trend of the Trump administration's approach to Israel, which has been characterized by a marked departure from previous administrations' more cautious stances. The ongoing tension between U.S. policy and international norms surrounding settlement expansion raises questions about the future of U.S.-Israeli relations and the broader Israeli-Palestinian conflict. In light of these developments, the Trump administration is at a crossroads. The administration's economic policies, particularly its reliance on tariffs as a revenue source, face mounting criticism for their potential to exacerbate existing economic woes rather than alleviate them. As Bessent navigates these complex issues, one thing is clear: the stakes are high and the path forward is fraught with challenges that could shape the economic and diplomatic landscape for years to come. Looking ahead, the ability of the Trump administration to effectively manage these dual pressures, domestic economic concerns and international diplomatic relations, will be crucial in determining both its legacy and the stability of the U.S. economy in the near future. As analysts and policymakers watch closely, the outcomes of Besant's initiatives and meetings will undoubtedly play a pivotal role in shaping the conversation surrounding America's economic health and its position on the global stage. In a move that has sparked significant debate about immigration policy and economic strategy, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick recently addressed concerns surrounding President Donald Trump's proposed Gold Card visa initiative. The plan, which aims to replace the existing EB-5 immigrant investor program, seeks to offer foreign investors a pathway to U.S. citizenship through a $5 million investment. Lutnick, who was confirmed as Secretary of Commerce just over a week ago, is now at the forefront of this controversial proposal, which has implications for both immigration and economic growth in the United States. During an exclusive interview on Fox News, Lutnick emphasized that the proposed Gold Card program would involve rigorous vetting of applicants, ensuring that those who receive the visa would contribute positively to the U.S. economy. "We said that from the first minute go, these are vetted people," Lutnick asserted. He highlighted the potential benefits, stating that these investors would not only bring entrepreneurial skills but also create jobs and pay taxes, ultimately generating significant revenue for the country. "If one of them comes, and think of the jobs they're going to bring with them, the businesses they're going to bring with them," he added. Trump's proposal comes at a time when the EB-5 program has faced criticism for inefficiencies and potential misuse. The EB-5 program, established in 1990, allows foreign nationals to obtain a green card by investing in U.S. businesses that create jobs for American workers. While the program has been successful in attracting capital, it has also been marred by allegations of fraud and abuse, leading to calls for reform. Trump's Gold Card initiative aims to streamline this process while increasing the investment threshold to $5 million. Lutnick revealed that there are currently around 250,000 individuals waiting for such a visa, which, if priced at $5 million each, could yield a staggering $1.25 trillion for the U.S. economy. This figure, he argued, could be a game changer. "Imagine if we sell 1 million of them. That's $5 trillion, and that pays off our debt. Drives down interest rates and makes America amazing," he proclaimed. His comments illustrate the administration's ambitious vision of utilizing foreign investment to address domestic financial challenges. Critics of the Gold Card proposal, however, worry that it could prioritize wealth over merit, potentially sidelining qualified immigrants who lack the financial means to invest. The debate over this initiative reflects broader concerns about immigration reform in the U.S., where the balance between attracting foreign talent and safeguarding national interests remains contentious. As Lutnick settles into his new role, his focus will also extend beyond immigration. The Secretary of Commerce is tasked with navigating a complex landscape of trade policies, particularly as the Trump administration continues to grapple with rising trade tensions and the need to implement tariffs against various countries, including key allies. Lutnick's experience as the CEO of Cantor Fitzgerald and his involvement in the transition process following Trump's re-election is expected to inform his approach to these challenges. In the coming weeks, further details about the Gold Card visa program are anticipated, and how this initiative will be integrated into the broader economic agenda will be closely watched. The administration's strategy to attract foreign investment while addressing domestic concerns will be pivotal in shaping the future of U.S. immigration policy and economic recovery efforts. As the political landscape evolves, Lutnick's role as Commerce Secretary will be crucial in navigating these complex issues with significant implications for the U.S. economy and its global standing.